Captain Samuel Wright stood at the viewing window of the U.S. Intrepid, watching the stars drift by. The ship had been patrolling the outer edges of human space for 3 weeks now. It was a routine mission, or at least it was supposed to be. He sipped his coffee, letting the warmth spread through his chest. "Captain," First Officer Lisa Martinez's voice cut through the quiet bridge. "Unknown contact at bearing 340. It's big, sir. Really big." Wright put down his coffee cup and straightened his uniform. "Show me." The main screen lit up with an image that made everyone on the bridge stop and stare. A massive ship, easily 3 times the size of the Intrepid, hung against the black of space. Its design was like nothing they had ever seen before, all smooth curves and gleaming metal, with strange purple lights pulsing along its hull. "Are they trying to communicate?" Wright asked. Communications Officer Jennifer Parker's fingers flew across her console. "Yes, sir. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. I'm working on decoding it now." The bridge crew waited in tense silence. Humanity had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "Got it," Parker announced, putting it on screen now. The image that appeared made Wright take a step back. The alien on the screen looked like a giant praying mantis, if praying mantises wore elaborate robes and had glowing eyes. When it spoke, its mandibles clicked and chittered, but Parker's translation software converted it to English. "Human vessel, this is High Commander Zexthar of the Galactic Council Diplomatic Corps. Your species has been observed and found worthy of consideration for membership. Submit to our authority immediately, and we will guide your development." Wright frowned. Something about this didn't feel right. "This is Captain Samuel Wright of the U.S. Intrepid. We welcome peaceful contact, but we do not submit to unknown authorities. Perhaps we could discuss." First Officer Lisa Martinez interrupted, her eyes fixed on her readings. Energy spiked from their vessel. "They're powering up something big." Wright didn't hesitate. "Shields up. Battle stations." The Intrepid's warning sirens blared as the crew rushed to their combat positions. They had drilled for this countless times, but never expecting it would be against an alien vessel. The alien ship struck first. A beam of pure energy lanced out, hitting the Intrepid's shields. The whole ship shuddered. "Shields at 60%. Tactical Officer Amanda Peterson reported. "That was just one hit. Their weapons are unlike anything we've seen," Engineering Chief Kevin Morris called up from his station. "Pure energy-based. No physical projectiles." Wright gripped the arms of his command chair. "Return fire. Standard defense pattern." The Intrepid's rail guns spun up, launching volleys of tungsten rounds at nearly relativistic speeds. At the same time, missile tubes opened along the hull, releasing a spread of conventional warheads. On the screen, High Commander Zexthar's image returned. The alien looked almost amused. "Your primitive kinetic weapons cannot hope to." The mantis-like alien speech cut off as the first railgun rounds hit their ship. To everyone's surprise, they punched straight through what looked like energy shields, tearing into the hull beneath. "Direct hits," Peterson called out. "They're shields. They're optimized for energy weapons only." The missiles followed seconds later. The alien vessel's point defense systems, designed to stop energy-based attacks, proved nearly useless against physical warheads. Explosions bloomed across their hull. "Impossible." Zexthar's voice crackled through the comm. "Your technology is inferior. You cannot." Another volley of railgun fire cut off the transmission. The alien ship's purple lights flickered and began to dim. "Their main power system is destabilizing," Morris reported. "Whatever they use for a reactor isn't well protected against physical damage." "Captain," Martinez called out, "they're powering up their faster-than-light drive. They're trying to run." Wright leaned forward. "Let them go. But download everything we can from their systems first." The massive alien vessel vanished in a flash of purple light, leaving the bridge crew of the Intrepid in stunned silence. "Is everyone all right?" Wright asked, looking around at his crew. They nodded, still processing what had just happened. Humanity's first contact with alien life had turned into a battle they had won. "Sir," Parker spoke up from her communication station, "I managed to download a significant amount of data from their open broadcasts. Sir, they're part of something called the Galactic Council, thousands of species, all across the galaxy, and according to this, they all follow the same combat protocols. Energy weapons, energy shields, standardized across all their ships. That's why they were so confident," Peterson added. "They expected their technology to be superior. They didn't count on us using physical weapons." Wright sat back in his chair, considering the implications. They had just proven that humanity's primitive technology could defeat supposedly superior alien weaponry. The Galactic Council would have to reconsider their assumptions about warfare. "Send a full report to Earth Command," he ordered, "and keep our shields up. Something tells me this isn't over." As the Intrepid's crew began their damage assessment and repairs, none of them could know that their actions would soon force the most powerful organization in the galaxy to completely rewrite their combat protocols for the first time in 2,000 years. In his quarters later that night, Wright recorded his personal log. "First contact day. Not what any of us expected. We came looking for new friends among the stars. Instead, we found out that humanity's different path of technological development might be our greatest strength. The aliens assumed their way was the only way forward. They forgot that sometimes the old ways, the simple ways, still work just fine. I have a feeling we're going to be teaching them that lesson again before this is over." He paused, looking out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, a damaged alien ship was racing home to report that the simple humans and their primitive weapons had done the impossible. Wright allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity wasn't as primitive as they thought. "Computer, end log," he said, and turned to review the data they had captured. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but for now, the U.S. Intrepid had made history. They had fought humanity's first interstellar battle, and won. Engineering Chief Kevin Morris wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crawled through the maintenance tunnel of the U.S. Intrepid. The battle with the alien ship had left them with damage to repair, but more importantly, it had given them valuable information about their new enemies. "Pass me that sensor kit," he called to his assistant. The young engineer handed him a compact box of diagnostic tools. Morris pressed it against the damaged power conduit, studying the readings. "Just as I thought. Their energy weapons left a unique signature. We can adapt our shields to handle it better next time." Up on the bridge, Captain Wright was reviewing the battle footage with his command staff. The massive alien vessel's attack played out on the main screen, frame by frame. "Look at that," Tactical Officer Amanda Peterson pointed to a specific moment. "Their energy shields are incredibly advanced, but they're only designed to stop energy-based attacks. It's like they never considered someone would use physical projectiles." First Officer Lisa Martinez nodded. "They've probably been fighting the same way for so long, they forgot about simpler solutions. But why?" "I might have an answer to that." Communications Officer Jennifer Parker spoke up from her station. She had spent the last 6 hours analyzing the data they'd downloaded from the alien ship. According to their records, the Galactic Council standardized all military technology thousands of years ago. Every member species has to follow their weapons protocols. "Standardization makes sense for an alliance that big," Wright said, "but it also means they all have the same weaknesses. What else did you find?" Parker pulled up more information on her screen. "They call themselves the Zextheri. They're one of the Council's enforcer species. Their job is to make first contact with new civilizations and, well, basically bully them into joining the Council. Didn't work out so well for them this time," Peterson said with a slight smile. The ship's intercom crackled. "Engineering to bridge. Captain, you need to see this." Minutes later, Wright stood in the engine room as Morris showed him the results of his analysis. Diagrams and data scrolled across the screens. "Their weapons are incredibly advanced," Morris explained, "but they're all variations on the same theme. Pure energy attacks. No physical ammunition to run out of, no projectiles to dodge, just straight-up energy beams. But that makes them predictable. He pulled up a simulation showing how the alien weapons had affected their shields. Give me 2 days, and I can modify our shield generators to be twice as effective against their attacks. They won't expect that. You have 1 day, Wright replied. I don't think we'll be left alone for long. He was right. The next morning, long-range sensors detected 3 more alien ships heading their way. These were smaller than the first one, but they moved with obvious purpose. Patrol ships, Martin said, studying the readings, probably sent to find out what happened to their diplomat. Wright called the crew to battle stations again, but this time they were better prepared. Morris had worked through the night with his engineering team, implementing his shield modifications. Peterson had adjusted their targeting systems based on what they'd learned about alien hull vulnerabilities. They're hailing us, Parker announced. The screen lit up to show another Zextheri, this one wearing military insignia. Human vessel, you have committed an act of war against the Galactic Council. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Wright stood from his chair. This is Captain Wright. Your ship fired first after making demands we could not accept. We defended ourselves, as is our right. We have no wish for war, but we will not surrender. Your primitive vessel cannot stand against 3 of our ships. The alien commander clicked his mandibles in what might have been amusement. This is your final warning. All stations, ready for combat, Wright ordered calmly. But hold your fire unless fired upon. Let's see if they've learned anything from last time. They hadn't. All 3 alien ships opened fire at once, their energy beams converging on the Intrepid's position. But this time, Morris's modified shields held strong. Shields at 85%, Peterson reported. The modifications are working. Now it's our turn, Wright said. Target their engines and weapon systems. Fire when ready. The Intrepid's rail guns spoke again, sending streams of hypervelocity rounds at the alien ships. At the same time, missiles launched from hidden tubes along the hull, their paths unpredictable and hard to track. The alien ships tried to evade, but they weren't used to dealing with physical projectiles. Their energy shields flickered uselessly as tungsten rounds poured through their hulls. The missiles followed, their conventional warheads detonating against vital systems. Direct hits on all targets, Peterson called out. 2 ships have lost power. The 3rd is trying to retreat. Disable their engines, Wright ordered. We need prisoners this time. The Council needs to understand we're not the primitives they think we are. A final barrage of carefully aimed railgun fire left the 3rd alien ship drifting in space, its engine core dark. Send a message to the disabled ships, Wright told Parker. Tell them we're prepared to offer assistance and medical aid to their crews, in accordance with human military protocols. The response came quickly. All 3 ships surrendered. As rescue operations began, Morris came to the bridge, carrying a tablet with his latest analysis. Captain, you need to see this. I've been studying their technology more closely. It's not just their weapons. Their whole technological development is different from ours. They went all in on energy manipulation thousands of years ago. Never looked back. While we kept developing everything, Martinez added. Energy weapons, physical weapons, different types of shields and armor. We never put all our eggs in one basket. Wright nodded slowly. And that's why we won. Not because we're better, but because we're different. We took a different path. The Council isn't going to like this, Parker said, looking up from her communications console. According to their protocols, member species aren't supposed to develop new weapons technology without approval. We're going to upset their whole system. Maybe their system needs upsetting, Wright replied. Send a full report to Earth Command. They need to know what we're dealing with and what we can do about it. As the crew began securing their alien prisoners and treating their wounded, Wright couldn't help but feel a mix of pride and concern. They had won again, more decisively this time. But they had also proved that humanity's primitive technology could defeat the Council's standardized military doctrine. The galaxy was about to change, and the U.S. Intrepid had fired the first shots of that change. The question now was, how would the Council react when they realized their carefully controlled military protocols were about to be turned upside down by the newest species they had discovered? In the ship's break, the captured Zextheri watched in confusion as their human captors treated their injuries with a mix of advanced medical technology and what they considered primitive physical medicine. Like everything else about humans, it made no sense to them, but it worked. The age of standardized galactic warfare was about to end. A new era was beginning, whether the Council was ready for it or not. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with nervous energy. Representatives from over 1,000 species filled the massive room, their voices a mix of clicks, whistles, and electronic translations. News of the human victories had spread quickly through Council space, causing widespread concern. At the center of the chamber, High Commander Zexthar stood before the Council leadership, his chitinous armor still showing damage from his encounter with the U.S. Intrepid. "Impossible," shouted one of the Kulari leaders, their glowing form pulsing with anger. "How could a single primitive vessel defeat 4 of our ships?" Intelligence Officer Daniel Carter watched from a side chamber where he and other human representatives waited. Earth Command had sent him to observe the Council's response to recent events. He smiled slightly as he watched the aliens argue among themselves. The Kulari leader continued, "Show us the battle footage again." The chamber's massive screens lit up with images from the battles. The Council members watched in stunned silence as the Intrepid's primitive weapons tore through their supposedly superior defenses. "Look at their weapons," a spider-like arachnid counselor pointed with one of its 8 legs. "Physical projectiles, metal and explosives. We haven't used such things in combat for thousands of years." "Because we found better ways," another Council member argued. "Energy weapons are cleaner, more precise, more civilized." More civilized weapons didn't help our ships. Zexthar clicked his mandibles in frustration. "The humans use materials so simple, our scanners barely register them as weapons. Their tungsten rounds have no energy signature to detect. Their missiles carry no advanced guidance systems, just basic tracking devices we overlooked." In the side chamber, Carter made careful notes. The Council's reaction was exactly what Earth Command had predicted, a mix of denial and panic. The head of the Military Assessment Committee, a tall Kulari named Zorl, floated to the center of the chamber. "We must consider the implications. Our standardized combat protocols, unchanged for 2,000 years, failed against human weapons, not because their technology is superior, but because it is different. Different is dangerous," someone shouted from the crowd. "Different is exactly what we need," Zorl responded. "Our military doctrine has become stagnant. We assumed our path of technological development was the only correct one. The humans have proved us wrong." The chamber erupted in argument again. Carter watched as various species took sides. The older Council members wanted to crush the human threat immediately. Younger species seemed fascinated by human innovation. A small rodent-like alien scurried up to Carter's observation post. "Is it true?" The creature asked through its translator. "Your ships still carry physical ammunition, actual explosives." "Among other things," Carter replied carefully. "We believe in keeping our options open." The news spread through the chamber. The human representative had confirmed their primitive methods, but now those methods didn't seem so primitive anymore. Zorel called for order. "We have intercepted transmissions from Earth. They are already preparing more ships based on the Intrepid's success. We must adapt or face more defeats." The Kulari leader's glow dimmed slightly. "You suggest we change our combat protocols, the same protocols that have kept peace in Council space for millennia." "Peace through standardization has made us vulnerable," Zorl argued. "The humans have shown us our weakness. We should learn from them, not fear them." In a quiet corner of the chamber, representatives from several younger Council species whispered among themselves. Carter's enhanced hearing picked up fragments of their conversation. They were already discussing ways to develop their own kinetic weapons. The Council's master of technology, a crystalline being named Sanel, projected a series of calculations into the air. Analysis shows human weapons are effective because they are unpredictable. Our defenses are designed to stop energy attacks. Physical projectiles moving at relativistic speeds simply pass through our shields. Then we must adapt our shields, Zexthar declared. That would take years of research. Sanel's crystal body flickered with concern. Our entire defensive doctrine would need to change. And in the meantime, the humans are building more ships. Carter watched as the reality of the situation slowly sank in. The mighty Galactic Council, with all its advanced technology, had been outmaneuvered by human innovation. Their carefully structured military protocols, designed to keep member species in line, had become a weakness. A young Zexthari officer approached the center of the chamber. I have analyzed the human ship's tactical data. They don't just use physical weapons. They combine them with energy weapons, electronic warfare, and other systems we abandoned ages ago. Their strength isn't in any single technology, but in their ability to use everything available to them. The chamber grew quiet as the implications became clear. The Council's standardization had led to stagnation. Human primitive technology wasn't primitive at all. It was simply a different path of development, one that had proven remarkably effective. Zorl spoke again. We face a choice. We can try to crush this new species with our old methods, which we now know may fail. Or we can learn from them. Adapt. Grow. Become stronger by embracing new ideas. In the side chamber, Carter sent a coded message back to Earth Command. Council in disarray. Some want war. Others want to learn. Their military doctrine is cracking. Recommend continued diplomatic pressure while maintaining military readiness. The debate raged on for hours. Species that had never questioned the Council's combat protocols began to wonder what other innovations they had missed by following standardized development paths. The younger Council members grew more vocal in their support for change. Finally, the Quilleri leader raised all four arms for silence. We will convene a special session of the Military Innovation Committee. All species will send representatives. We must reevaluate our assumptions about combat technology. As the chamber cleared, Carter smiled to himself. The humans hadn't just won battles. They had forced the most powerful organization in the galaxy to question its most basic assumptions. Change was coming to the Galactic Council, whether they wanted it or not. In a secure communication room, he composed his final report of the day. Phase 3 complete. Council military doctrine destabilized. Recommend proceeding with diplomatic initiative. The galaxy is about to remember that sometimes the old ways are still effective, and that true strength comes from diversity, not standardization. The message was encrypted and sent. In human space, the U.S. Intrepid's success was already leading to new ship designs and combat strategies. The age of standard galactic warfare was ending. A new era of innovation was about to begin. Ambassador Nicol Anderson stood on the bridge of the U.S. Intrepid, watching as the massive Council diplomatic vessel dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Unlike the previous Zexthari ships, this one came with its weapons powered down and shields lowered, a proper diplomatic approach at last. "They're hailing us," Communications Officer Jennifer Parker announced. "Audio and visual. Put them through," Captain Wright ordered, standing beside the ambassador. The main screen showed a mixed group of alien species. In the center stood a tall, elegant being that seemed to be made of flowing light, a Quilleri diplomat. Next to it was a Zexthari wearing civilian robes and several other alien species the humans had never seen before. "Greetings, U.S. Intrepid," the Quilleri spoke, its voice melodic even through the translator. "I am High Diplomat Velar. We come in true peace this time, seeking understanding." Ambassador Anderson stepped forward. "We welcome you, High Diplomat. I am Ambassador Nickel Anderson of Earth, and we are ready to begin proper diplomatic relations. In engineering, Chief Morris worked with his team to scan the alien vessel. Different design from the military ships, he reported to the bridge. No hidden weapons signatures. They're serious about diplomacy this time. The council delegation came aboard through the main docking port. Security teams stood ready, but kept their weapons holstered. First Officer Martinez led the alien visitors to the ship's conference room, where Captain Wright and Ambassador Anderson waited. "Your ship has caused quite a stir in council space," Wheeler said as they settled around the conference table. "Many species are questioning traditions we have held for thousands of years." "Sometimes questioning traditions leads to growth," Anderson replied carefully. "We hope we can learn from each other." The Zextheri diplomat clicked his mandibles. "We have reviewed your combat footage extensively. Your tactics were unexpected, effective. We wish to understand how humans develop such different approaches to space warfare." Chief Science Officer Christopher Barnes spread out several technical documents on the table. "It's quite simple, really. We never limited ourselves to a single path of technological development. When we went to space, we took everything that worked, old and new." He showed them diagrams of the Intrepid's weapons systems, railed guns based on simple magnetic acceleration, missiles carrying conventional warheads, electronic warfare suites, energy weapons too, but not exclusively. "We believe in having options." The alien diplomat studied the documents with great interest. A spider-like arachnid engineer waved its front legs excitedly. "So simple, yet we never considered combining old and new technologies this way. Our standardization protocols prevented it." "That standardization nearly led to a serious mistake," Wheeler admitted. "We assumed your ship was primitive because it didn't match our standards. We were wrong." In the corner of the conference room, Intelligence Officer Daniel Carter watched the proceedings with interest. He noticed several of the alien diplomats taking careful notes about human technology, just as planned. Ambassador Anderson smiled diplomatically. "Perhaps it's time for new standards, ones that embrace diversity in technological development. Many younger council species are already calling for changes," the Zextheri diplomat said. "They want permission to explore different paths of development, like humans have." "And the older species?" Wright asked. Wheeler's glow dimmed slightly. "They are resistant, but they cannot deny the evidence. Your single ship defeated 4 of ours, not through superior technology, but through different thinking." The meeting continued for hours. The aliens were fascinated by human innovation, asking questions about everything from ship design to combat tactics. Barnes explained the basics, careful not to reveal any classified details, but showing enough to prove that humanity's approach had merit. "Your shields," the arachnid engineer chittered excitedly. "They are designed to stop both energy and physical attacks. We never thought to create dual-purpose defenses because the Council's standards didn't require it." Carter spoke up from his corner. "You focused on perfecting one type of technology instead of exploring alternatives." Wheeler nodded its glowing form. "A mistake we are now recognizing. Several Council species have already submitted requests to begin research into kinetic weapons and physical armor." "Won't that violate your combat protocols?" Anderson asked. "The protocols are changing," the Zextheri diplomat replied. "Your ship proved they must change. The galaxy is not as simple as we believed." Later, after the diplomatic party had returned to their ship, the Intrepid's senior staff gathered on the bridge. "Well," Wright said, "that went better than our first contact." Anderson nodded. "They're scared, but also curious. The Council's younger species see this as an opportunity to break free from technological restrictions. The older ones realize they need to adapt or become vulnerable." "Did you see how interested they were in our primitive weapons?" Parker asked. "I intercepted several unofficial transmissions from their ship to Council space. At least 3 species are already making plans to develop their own railgun technology." Morris laughed. Wait until they try to figure out how our missile guidance systems work. Sometimes, the simple solutions are the hardest to copy. What happens next? Martins asked the ambassador. Anderson looked out at the diplomatic vessel, still floating peacefully alongside the Intrepid. Now we negotiate. The Council wants our technology, our innovation. We want access to their faster-than-light travel improvements and energy manipulation systems. There's room for both sides to benefit, as long as they don't try to standardize us, Wright added. I don't think that's a concern anymore, Carter said. They've learned that standardization has a price. Humanity just showed them what that price could be. The diplomatic vessel sent a final message before departing. The Council was inviting Earth to send representatives to their next General Assembly. They wanted humanity's perspective on updating the combat protocols that had governed galactic warfare for 2 millennia. As the alien ship disappeared into faster-than-light travel, Ambassador Anderson turned to Captain Wright. The galaxy is changing, Captain. And it all started because your crew refused to submit to their demands. Wright smiled. We just did what humans have always done, used every tool available to solve the problem at hand. Simple as that. But they all knew it wasn't really that simple. Humanity had unknowingly challenged the foundation of galactic military doctrine. The ripples of their actions would spread far beyond combat protocols, affecting how the Council approached all forms of technological development. The age of standardization was ending. A new age of innovation was beginning, and it had started with a single human ship that dared to be different. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so full. Representatives from every Council species crowded the vast space, all eager to witness this historic moment. At the center of the chamber stood the crew of the U.S. Intrepid, the first humans to formally address the full Council. Captain Samuel Wright stood at the speaking platform, with First Officer Lisa Martinez and Ambassador Nicole Anderson beside him. The rest of his senior staff waited nearby. Behind them, massive screens showed footage from their battles with the Council ships. As you can see, Wright gestured to the screens, our success wasn't due to superior technology. It came from our willingness to use all available tools, both old and new. The chamber buzzed with translated whispers as the aliens watched the Intrepid's rail guns tear through energy shields designed to stop only energy weapons. Communications Officer Jennifer Parker listened to the translations through her earpiece, noting the mix of fear and admiration in the aliens' voices. High Diplomat Velar floated forward, its glowing form brightening. Captain Wright, your ship has forced us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Our standardized combat protocols, unchanged for 2,000 years, have become our weakness. Engineering Chief Kevin Morris stepped up to the platform when called. He pulled up technical diagrams showing how the Intrepid combined different technologies. Humans never stopped developing older weapons alongside new ones, he explained. We kept what worked and improved it. Simple as that. A young Zextheri representative raised his clawed hand. But surely energy weapons are more advanced, more civilized. More advanced doesn't always mean more effective, Morris replied. A simple tungsten rod moving at high speed can do just as much damage as an energy beam, sometimes more, because no one expects it anymore. The Council's Military Innovation Committee presented their findings next. They had spent weeks studying the Intrepid's combat data and interviewing the captured crew members from the defeated Council ships. The humans use what they call a combined arms approach. The committee leader explained. Energy weapons, physical projectiles, electronic warfare, armor, and shields, all working together. While we focused on perfecting one type of technology, they kept improving everything. Ambassador Anderson watched as understanding spread through the chamber. The Council's proudest achievement, standardizing military technology across thousands of species, had actually made them vulnerable to different approaches. We propose, Velar announced, a complete revision of Council combat protocols. For the first time in 2,000 years, we will allow member species to develop and maintain diverse military technologies. The chamber erupted in debate. Older species protested, arguing that standardization had kept the peace. Younger species supported the change, eager to explore new possibilities. Intelligence Officer Daniel Carter smiled as he made notes. Earth Command would be very interested in how quickly the Council's younger species embraced change. Order. Vaylor's voice echoed through the chamber. We will vote on the new protocols. The voting took hours. Each species had to register their choice, with much discussion and argument. Parker kept track of the translations, noticing how the momentum shifted as more species voted for change. Finally, Vaylor announced the results. By a margin of 73%, the Council approves the new combat protocols. The age of standardization is over. The age of innovation begins. The new protocols appeared on the massive screens. Member species may develop and maintain diverse military technologies. Regular technology exchanges will be encouraged between species. No single approach to combat systems will be mandated. Innovation and adaptation are to be rewarded. The Council will maintain a database of all combat technologies for study. Regular war games will test different technological approaches. Species must share defensive innovations for the common good. Furthermore, Vaylor continued, we invite humanity to join the Council's Military Innovation Committee as full members. Your different perspective will be valuable as we adapt to this new era. Captain Wright stepped forward again. We accept with one condition. The Council must understand that humanity will continue to develop in our own way. We will share knowledge, but we won't be standardized. After recent events, Vaylor's glow pulsed with what might have been amusement. We wouldn't dare try to standardize humans. Later, back on the Intrepid, the crew gathered in the mess hall to celebrate. They had achieved far more than just winning a few battles. They had changed how an entire galaxy thought about warfare and technology. Did you see their faces when we showed them how simple railguns work? Morris laughed. They thought we were using some kind of advanced technology. Couldn't believe it was just magnets and metal. Simple doesn't mean primitive, Martine said. That's what they finally understood today. Parker looked up from her datapad. Reports are already coming in. 3 younger Council species have started research into kinetic weapons. 5 more are developing physical armor systems. The Council's technology database is getting new entries every hour. Change was coming anyway. Ambassador Anderson noted. We just gave them a push. Sometimes you need an outsider to show you what you've been missing. Captain Wright raised his coffee cup. To the U.S. Intrepid and her crew. We came looking for new friends among the stars. Instead, we taught the galaxy that sometimes the old ways still work just fine. And to the future, Carter added, because the galaxy is about to get a lot more interesting. In the weeks that followed, the Council began implementing the new protocols. Ships from younger species started appearing with modified designs, combining energy and kinetic weapons. The older species gradually accepted the changes, especially after war games proved the effectiveness of diverse combat systems. The U.S. Intrepid remained in Council space, helping to train other species in combined arms tactics. Their rail guns, once dismissed as primitive, became the model for a new generation of weapons. Their simple but effective approach to space combat sparked a renaissance in military technology throughout the galaxy. And in distant shipyards across Council space, new vessels took shape, ships that carried both energy beams and physical projectiles, protected by both energy shields and physical armor. The Council had finally learned that true strength comes not from standardization, but from diversity of approach. Captain Wright recorded one final log entry before the Intrepid headed home. 2,000 years of standard combat protocols, changed because one human ship refused to follow the rules. We didn't set out to revolutionize galactic warfare. We just did what humans have always done. Used every tool at our disposal to solve the problem in front of us. Simple as that. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what it needed.